transitions as opposed to energy additions based on what works for all of our communities, what works for the farmers, because energy and ag run together as one, but also for the workers, for the families. And this is a band-aid fix to what government has cost. But this is very hard because we need to support the workers that we've offset in this building, but we can't make this a green light, but we can keep doing this and come back to fix the problem as government fixing the problem. We need to slow down, let industry catch up, and not misplace our workers. We're back in a situation where we need to come forth with a bill to save our families and our businesses. I would love for Colorado to prosper for business communities, not for us to have to chase our tail every single time just to keep what we have already. We're not growing, we're barely maintaining because of the policies through this building. For my county and Morgan County and the counties around it, because they're transitioning to these coal and they've been displaced because of the decisions made in this body, I will be a yes. This is a very tough one. This is not a sign that we can keep doing this. We need to slow down and stop hurting our workforce.
Representative DeGraff.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. All right. So here we are once again trying to cover up the bad policy. Thank you, Ross. When we had the SMART hearing, which is really kind of a funny name for something where we only do pretense of transparency and accountability. One of the things that I asked the CDPHE was for something that was built into the law back in 2019, and that is that all of these climate goals, these scientifically based climate goals, which nobody knows what they are. You can do now because everybody should know by now that the carbon footprint less than 1 ton and if you really want to get a perspective of that, this room is roughly 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools volume. So that would be roughly 1/2 of 1 drop in 6 of these rooms. That's your carbon footprint. That's what you're trying to save with all of this stuff. And what you're doing with these climate goals is you just devastated the economy. You devastated the livelihood of an entire community. And then you want to come in here and throw kittens at them. And then pretend like you're doing something like you care. Like I said, just like the SMART hearing is a pretense of transparency, this bill is a pretense of care. It's not care. It's throwing something at people that you are in the process of throwing away. These coal miners built this state. At one point, we had an appreciation for the industry that built this building and built this state. Now we throw them away and then we say this is a whole other government program. And we know where this government program is going to go. It's going to go into the rift of this group. That's where the money goes. It goes into further rift. The people who are not going to be helped are the people that it's supposed to help. And then you're going to say something like, hey, maybe you should go be a computer programmer or something else that's being replaced by AI. Maybe you should move to the governor's urban corridor where everybody can walk 15 minutes to work. Coal workers are the backbone of this society. Mining, agriculture, those are the real economies. Manufacturing, those are the real economies. What goes on in Denver is all built on those economies. We're talking about a foundation of economies. And we're talking about the people that really, really make this society work. And you kick them to the curb. And now you want to throw crumbs at them. So when I asked about the climate goals from CDPHE and pretense of transparency, CDPHE has absolutely, and these goals are required in the 2019 legislation. CDPHE has absolutely no idea what their climate goals are. None. They don't even know what a climate goal is. Now, I told you what your carbon footprint is, and if we do something really crazy, like consider that this bogeyman of carbon dioxide is 100% responsible for the 33 degrees Celsius that keeps us between the the outer, which distributes, by which all of the heat on Earth is distributed, you say that carbon dioxide is 100% responsible for that hit of 33 degrees Celsius, and then you take Colorado's 0.1 billion tons created in a year, 100 billion metric ton, or 100 billion tons, and you compare that to 3,300 billion tons that are in the atmosphere. And it's a really easy thing of math to do. You just take 100%, which is just 1, times 33 degrees Celsius, and then you multiply it by the ratio, 0.1 or 3,300, and you get 0.001. So if you look, degrees Celsius, and now you consider that your day goes by at approximately 1 degree Celsius per hour every hour. And then you wait 1/1000 of an hour, 3.6 seconds. There we go. That transition, that 3.6 seconds, 0.001 degrees Celsius, that temperature change is why you have kicked the coal workers in the teeth.
Representative DeGraff, you may disagree with the policy, but the policy is not kicking anyone in the teeth.
No, ma'am, you are correct.
Please.
The general policy of the climate goals that the governor has imposed through this body for the benefit of the Green Rift has kicked these coal workers in the teeth. And this is basically throwing some crumbs out and seeing if, hey, maybe you can chew on these because you kick down on your teeth.
Representative DeGraff, please don't double down on this metaphor. Let's move on. Please focus on the bill. Thank you.
The bill is creating another program that will go to government grift, that will not help the people that it's pretending to help. It's just a little bit of a self-pat on the back so you can feel good about what has been done to this industry, what has been done to the backbone of this state. So I can't vote for a program that is just going to contribute more to the grift. Because that's where, until we do some zero-based budgeting in this room, there is far too much money going to the grift, and we know where the grift ends up ultimately in November. So this is unfortunate. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be voting against our coal miners in any way, shape, or form. But this is not going to help them. This is pretending to help them. If you really want to help them, you go back and you tell the governor, justify your climate goals, put some actual numbers behind them, and stop imposing them on Colorado, driving up our prices, driving up our energy prices, driving these individuals out of work. So until that point, to the coal workers, I appreciate you. Sorry not everybody does, but I'm going to keep working for making some realistic changes that are based on reality, not on this noise of trying to, not on this virtue cream of wanting to feel like we're helping people that we have not done. So I'm going to be there.
Representative Garcia Sender.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To me, I guess I hear, I was in committee and heard the arguments for this bill, and there's so much compassion that goes out to the coal workers and the rail workers and everybody involved in the coal transition to green energy. And I'm sorry that Colorado has killed the golden goose. I mentioned it in our committee hearing, but this is a prime example of today's solution being tomorrow's problem. Way back when we decided to kill our golden goose of natural gas and coal energy, we've seen the dominoes fall, and we've seen all the problems that have come from that, including huge budget deficit, because we don't have the revenues that we should have from our oil and gas severance taxes. And I guess, to me, the bigger concern that I had with this bill was really that government is now telling private businesses, not state government or local government, private businesses who they need to prefer to hire. And that, to me, is a problem as somebody who's been on the hired and hiring end. I certainly appreciate that there should be lots of qualified poll workers and poll related workers that have lots of skills that would put them at the front of the hiring path anyway. But for the government to then require private business to consult with the Just Transition Office and present reports once a year on their hiring practices, I think that's a big concern. And again, I think that is another example of today's solution being tomorrow's problem. The government is telling private businesses who they should prefer to hire. So for that reason, I would be against.
Representative Sucre.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So this is a very interesting bill. I have two of these such communities in my district. I have up in Palisade, or not Palisade, Peonia. We have a coal mine that's going to be shutting down soon, and it's going to lay off 100 and some workers. We also have the one that is really dear to my heart. They're both dear to my heart, but the one that hits me the most is in Nuclear Natarita. And in Nuclear Natarita, there is no, I talked about this in committee, there is no trains, there is no freeways. Every business that is talking about that they can be referred to get it hired is going to have to be, they got to move away. So they gave them the first $2.8 million. They used it for infrastructure in the towns. And then after they gave them that money, they put water systems in. But now I'm concerned about this. To me, this looks like affirmative action. What they're doing is they are telling a business, you will hire this person based on the testimony of the witnesses. So what was interesting about the witnesses that was in this committee, a lot of those people represented in organizations that actually shut down the coal plant. So those people that were testifying for this bill are the ones that caused the bill in the first place, which was very concerning. This bill where you're going to tell a private business that they have to hire a certain person, but not a government official that they have to hire a certain person. That looks like it's not a property right, but it's an individual right, owning that business, of hiring the person that is best for the job, and not the person that those people, in my opinion, that were in that committee testifying for this bill are the ones that created the bill in the first place. This is home. Nuclear was a town of 1,000 people probably, and they came in and they said, uranium's no good. Uranium's no good. So they shut down the uranium mines, and then the town went into half. After they shut down the uranium mines, they said, well, let's build a coal plant, and we'll keep you all working. And so they built the coal plant, but then they shut it down, and they said, well, what we're going to do, the coal plant was on 10 acres. What was the footprint on the river? Nobody even knew that coal plant was there. They said, well, we're going to shut your coal plant down on this 10 acres, but up there in this beautiful mountain, up by Roncombe Mountain, there's a field out in the middle of the trees, beautiful, beautiful country. We're going to put 600 acres of solar panels up there in this beautiful place. Well, the community, they went crazy about this. You know, no, you're not going to go destroy our beautiful landscape and put the 600 acres in, and you already have just 10 acres for the energy power. And now here we are with this bill that, in my opinion, I feel so sorry for the people of Newfoundland. I feel so sorry of what we've done to you people. And I feel ashamed, actually, that it's come to this. We're going to give you 5 cents when you lost your whole livelihoods. I'm going to vote no. Thank you.
Assistant Minority Leader Winter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, members. guess this is a great thing about America, we can all agree to disagree at some points, and I respect all of my colleagues that have gone and spoke about this topic. At the end of the day, I represent real people. And I represent real people that are going through this. And it makes it unfortunate because I say this over and over again, but I don't want to lose the attention of my colleagues because I respect you all, but this legislation was passed to put these people in this position. Main Street's close enough, funding for schools, funding for water projects, funding for roads. Small town Colorado's dying. And what makes it really hard is that I'm constantly talking about county commissioners and they're talking about they're trying to pay people to bring jobs into rural Colorado. And we face a special set of needs that nobody else faces, especially metro legislators. It's hard to get teachers to come into rural Colorado because there's not places to get something to eat after 7 o'clock at night. And you get mad graduates from medical school and it's hard to get him to come into Bend County because maybe his wife went to medical school in New York City and there isn't a place open after 5 o'clock. And we face so many different issues that you all don't face, and all of our issues are issues that are different. I come from Los Angeles County, and that's, in my opinion, the third mecca of Colorado. Most of the steel that's been in this state, most of the barbed wire that's been built in this state was built in Pueblo. Proud people. The steel town. Los Angeles County, I mean, coal mining, our high school is the miners. Trinidad miners. And their identity was taken from them. And they're tired of begging for businesses to come in because we have industry. And that's what makes this hard is right now we're suffering and people are trying to create art districts and Trinidad's trying to become the new Santa Fe and we're losing our identity and our people are losing their identity. I mean, at that time, the UMWA was so strong in Los Angeles County, and that was the identity of the county, were the people that put in that work. We had the Ludlow Massacre, and we've been through so much, and that's an identity of people. And we talked about lived experiences, but what about their lived experience? What about that identity? Back to talk about Pueblo again. You know how proud the people are. Two things that people are proud of, that's steelworkers and veterans, and for right reasons. The Office of Just Transition, I brought up during this night before I called the Office of Unjust Transition as much as I can because taking somebody from something or something from somebody and taking their industries and then trying to weave and push it into whatever direction you want to go, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with what's put in there. But on the other hand, I represent people. I'm a Republican. I represent Democrats and independents. And I represent the real people that have been affected by the legislation that have put this bill on the table. I will not turn my back on those people. I can't. Some of you all can justify your votes based on the district that you live in. I respect you for that. But I live in Los Angeles County. I see my main street shut down. I work for the people of Pueblo. And I see how disheartened that they are that they have the big industry to come in when they have a thriving industry and the infrastructure there. Whether you like it or not, we have a president right now who wants to make American steel, and we can mine the coal in my county and in Perfino County, and we can make the steel in Pueblo, Colorado, and we can once again be a huge economic driver in the state of Colorado. But nobody will back off the end goal, and the end goal people are getting pitched out of the car all along the way. I'm tired of people getting pitched out of the car. That was good on the gas workers. Now it's the farmers and ranchers fighting for their life with legislation coming through this building. At what point does it stop? Will all of us have to move here for jobs and to go to school because there's no services down where I live anymore? So does this bill put me in a tough spot? Yeah, this bill puts me in a tough spot. It puts people over policy, people over political ideology. But these are the times we have to make hard decisions in this building. And I want to say this, I do not judge any of my colleagues on either side for the decision that you're going to make. But today I'm going to vote for my people. Today I'm going to vote for the people of Los Angeles County, I'm going to vote for the people of Pueblo County, and I'm going to vote for the people of every coal impacted community in the state. And I want to say that vote prefaces on the bad legislation that's been passed in this building. And is this somewhat of a Band-Aid? Yes. But they've got to eat dinner too. They've gone eating dinner too. But I have asked for 4 years. And I have asked my colleagues over and over again, passing legislation to fix problems in the metro area exasperates rural problems. I see you all fight for your people. Everybody's fighting for their nugget. I understand that. We talk about life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in here all the time. But what makes you happy and the pursuit of your happiness may infringe on somebody else's happiness and their freedoms. So an ideology out of this building should not be able to infringe on the rights of my people to make a living, to fund their schools, to fund their roads, to put that food on the table. And here we are today. At some point, I'm back here in 2 years, I'm going to stand up here, you're probably already able to recite what I say, and probably you can cite things and laugh at me. I've seen the bingo card, and Representative Winter, this House District 47 from rural Colorado, I'm proud to be down on the bingo card. But I've offered for you all to come into my district, and I have had representatives who have come, and I appreciate you for it. And I know that you see the world a little bit different than you did before, because you said it to me. You've been to the school where there's 25 kids pre-K through 12. You've been to the rancher's house that isn't the Yellowstone rancher, it still isn't a 2-bedroom home on a 5th-generation piece of ground. You're hearing their stories. And now's when I ask you to take action. I have stepped in the middle of this fray a few times already this year. I'm willing to get shot in the back for my people. I'm willing for people to throw mud at me for what's doing what is right. I don't look at this as capitulation. I look at this as me. My job is to convince you to work with me to save my people and save their industries. That's important to me. I'm not here for political pandering. I'm not here for high-gotcha moments. I'm here to represent the 88,000 people of House District 47 to the best of my ability. And if that means taking crossfire from both sides, guess what? I will stand in that gap and stand in the middle every day of the week. Because I'm up here for my wife, my kids, my grandparents, the people that came before me, our ancestors, our ancient ancestors, the people that built this state. Denver's a cow town. Denver's a mineral town. People have forgot that. My people outbuilt this state. My people feed you. My people clothe you, and my people heat your homes. And the resources to build this state are now gone. And so are your jobs. And they're making it harder to put clothes on your back through the legislation that comes out of here. It's getting harder to grow beef and food out of the legislation that comes out of here. And heating your homes is important, and we have seen that. The legislation that comes out of here is making it harder to heat your homes. So today I will be a yes on this. But I ask my colleagues, please, understand the real world consequences of what is happening. I hear your stories. A lot of you are here because at one time the shoe was on the other foot. You feel like you were stepped on and pushed on and not heard and not seen and not looked at. But let us not forget when we get in power, we're not supposed to be the thing that we were fighting against.
And I want you to
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Please do not turn into what we're fighting against. Just because you don't share a zip code. Just because you don't have to look those people in the face. I wish you guys could go with me on 99 town halls. I wish you could see that. Please, start standing with me. Start standing with Blue Colorado. Not just in voice, but in action. Because if I'm willing to step here, I challenge the next person to step with me. Twice now. Actually, a few times in the last 4 years. But I ask you, start to step with me. Start to step with Blue Colorado. Start to step for my people. Thank you.
Minority Leader Caldwell.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.